And hello, guys, once again, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for the 27th episode of this retro Royal Rumble match recap and review series, as we have 3 more Rumbles left after this episode before we wrap up for now until we get to, future Royal Rumble match recaps and reviews, as well as I will do those again each year before the upcoming Royal Rumble pay-per-view. So we're going to get on to the 2014 Royal Rumble match. And first off, if you watched last episode, or if you saw any of my reviews, from SmackDown or Raw, or even if you got, I don't know, I'm probably going to watch my NXT review tonight, but just so y'all know, I'm feeling a ton better. I got a good night's sleep last night. I've been, taking the advice I got from my good friends Tian Coupon and Lauren Hutton over, my live stream tonight. So again, I thank you guys as well for just being good people and just being there as well for the advice you guys gave me, but I'm feeling much better today. I'm a lot more peppy and whatnot, so let's get into this Royal Rumble review. As we're going to talk about the 2014 Royal Rumble match. Now, this Royal Rumble match was the second ever Royal Rumble match that I watched, but to me, it's somewhat one of my favorites, I gotta say. I hold a special place in my heart for it, because it took place in my hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was there live in attendance with my good friends Daniel Gaiza, who is on YouTube at Daniel Gaiza412, my other friend Josh Cecilia as well. So we had a blast. We had floor seats, but they were towards the back of the floor seat section, so it was kind of tough at times to see, and also we had people behind us telling us to sit down and whatnot, so it was a little tough at times. So if we ever do get floor seats again, we want to be all the way up front, because we're all the way in the back. It's kind of tough to see sometimes with people standing up. But other than that, it was still a fun experience. I had a blast. The Pittsburgh crowd was a part of it. Before I get to the actual Royal Rumble match, I just want to talk a little bit about the show again, since I was actually there live in person for it. The show we got was still pretty good. We had some good matches. The pre-show match was Cody Rhodes and Goldust, the current tag team champions, taking on the New Age Outlaws. That was a fun pre-show match. We had the opening match, is one of the best matches I've ever seen of all time, I feel. Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, an awesome match. I love that ending combination sequence with Daniel Bryan going for the suicide dive, Bray Wyatt catching him and hitting him with the Sister Abigail into the barricade. That was awesome. Big Show and Brock Lesnar. Trying to think of what other matches we had. Oh yeah, Randy Orton and John Cena. People crapped on that match at the time, since I was still, a little bit of a newer fan. I didn't bother me too much that these two were having a match, but yeah, after watching stuff from the past as well, I didn't realize that match was crap and it was just overdone way too much, and we just seen this all before. So we had that, but then we had, of course, the Royal Rumble match. The reason why we are here to talk about the 2014 Royal Rumble match. This match, of course, a ton of people, this is around the time, of course, but Daniel Bryan was the hottest thing in WWE, the most popular thing, and people wanted to see him in this match. Unfortunately, he was not in the match, and a lot of us fans, including myself, were not happy about it. This was also the final match, we didn't know at this time, of a certain wrestler, and we'll talk about him very shortly as well, and he had a very good showing in the Royal Rumble match tonight. Well, in this show, we had a couple good surprise returns and whatnot. So overall, I can still say, despite the outcome, despite the boos and everything at the end of this Rumble, and this is where WWE really started to, take a tailspin in terms of, really, underutilizing talent and pushing people. Because we really haven't had a good Royal Rumble match winner. Well, I mean, 2016's again was good, but it was with the title on the line, having Triple H walking out with it. I mean, it wasn't like, it didn't have the same feeling as winning a Rumble match and getting an opportunity at WrestleMania. So it's did continue the trends of crappy Rumble winners. I mean, we see Edge was awesome in 2010, 2011. Alberto Del Rey, he wasn't really built up too well yet. 2012 was Sheamus, it felt average, but I guess that one was alright. 2013 with John Cena winning, it was predictable, but the match was still fun. This year, though, we'll talk about that winner. But yeah, overall, after even watching it, I still thought it was a solid Royal Rumble. It was fun to sit through. I gave it a pretty decent grade. But we'll get right into it and talk about this Royal Rumble match. Number 1 entrant, CM Punk. As we all know, as I said before, this was CM Punk's final match in WWE, as he would walk out on the WWE the next night in Cleveland, Ohio, the same place where he made his UFC debut just a couple years later. 2 years later. 2.5 years later, sorry. So we had him entering at number 1, followed by Shield member Seth Rollins at number 2. This was the first Royal Rumble match that the members of the Shield participated in. And actually, I didn't realize this until I watched it today. This is the only appearance so far by Seth Rollins in this Royal Rumble, because 2015, he was in the Triple Threat match for the championship as Mr. Money in the Bank. 2016, he was out with the injury. 2017, he was supposed to be in it, but storyline-wise, he got taken out of it. So hopefully he'll be in it this year. He's fighting the tag titles with Jason Jordan against the Bar, and maybe more teams, seeing what's going on Raw lately. But yeah, it was Punk and Rollins, which was a good way to start off also, because CM Punk had been feuding with the Shield. Remember, though, you gotta make Roman look really, really strong. Don't mind me making the CM Punk jokes throughout this Rumble match, because everything Punk talked about on his podcast and his Rumble, and be like, oh yeah, this is this. So if I make any Punk jokes, don't mind me. But yeah, number 2 was Seth Rollins. Number 3 was Damien Sandow. This is where Sandow's career just went completely downhill. Number 4 was Sandow's former tag team partner of Road Scholars, Cody Rhodes, who was a babyface now, and he had just lost the tag titles earlier. So he was teaming up with his brother Goldust at the time. Let me tell you something. I realized after watching this Royal Rumble, if there's an underrated wrestler, definitely, who has a strong history in the Royal Rumble match, I'd say it's Cody Rhodes. Because the past 3 Royal Rumbles, at least, 2012, 13, and 14, he had a pretty darn good showing in those Rumbles. Eliminating about 3, 4, or 5 people at a time, having a good, maybe like 20, 30 minutes or something like that in the matches. They gave Cody Rhodes a pretty good showing in these Royal Rumble matches. He's somebody I say is definitely one of the more underrated wrestlers, I'd say, in Royal Rumble history as well. So shout out to you, Cody. You did awesome in these Rumble matches in your WWE career. But he was at number 4, and then CM Punk would eliminate Damien Sandow. Number 5. Now, I remember when I was predicting who I would think would be a surprise entrance in this Rumble, I thought, what if Kane came into this Rumble, but he was the Demon Kane again? Because this was the era of Corporate Kane. I am sorry, guys. I did not like Corporate Kane. It just didn't work. It was annoying. It was crap. It just did not. You go from, well, I guess they kind of tried to make it make sense with having Kane hand over his mask to join the Authority, being the director of operations, but it just didn't work. Number 5 was Kane in the Royal Rumble match. He came out targeting Punk because, of course, the angle they're going for was Punk taking on Triple H at WrestleMania 30. But my goodness, they had Kane coming out when his music first hit. Again, I'm sitting on the floor seats, and I couldn't really see, the wrestlers until they got, into the ring. Kane came down the ramp, just pretty much taking off his top and going out there wrestling in just business slacks and dress shoes. And that's how Kane wrestled as Corporate Kane. I didn't like that either, his attire and appearance. But yeah, Corporate Kane, you know what? I know I had this list before, later than, this Rumble. But just seeing this again makes me sick. So you know what happens when you're a very boring character, when you're not one of my least favorite gimmicks? Corporate Kane, for the first time, I believe, in my Royal Rumble match recap and review retro series, you just made the list! Alright, but Kane came in basically just to target CM Punk. But he wouldn't last long, as Punk would eliminate Kane from the match. We then had number 6, which is the second year in a row we had somebody from NXT appear in the Royal match. This one was more a surprise entrant, though. It was not just Rusev, Alexander Rusev. This is around the time we were starting to do those vignettes for Rusev and Lana, that Rusev was on his way, but he was just Alexander. He was Alexander Rusev at this time. A couple months into his main roster career, that they dropped the Alexander and just went with Rusev, which I was completely fine with that, because I don't know why. Now you think about Alexander Rusev, it didn't quite flow really with the name Rusev. The name Rusev enough sounds strong, and, powerful pretty much, which is what Rusev should be, but he's getting somewhere with Rusev Day. By the way, happy Rusev Day, guys, if I didn't mention that before. But he came out at number 6. Number 7 was Jack Swagger. Him and Zeb Coulter were together. Him and Cesaro were together also as the Real Americans. He came out number 7. Number 8 was Kofi Kingston, who also, for a Punk again, came in and did that like flip to the clothesline, pretty much what it was, and it kind of like rocked up Punk as when he got his concussion. Went into the corner, motioned to Doc, "I have a concussion," and he said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" "Doctor, you're the most worthless piece of shit I've ever heard," or whatever the heck he said. But yeah, so again, Punk getting rocked up. And also, remember, Punk had that staph infection also during this match, too, as well, if you don't remember that. But yeah, I need to stop making the CM Punk jokes. But Kingston came out at number 8. Number 9 was Jimmy Uso. Followed by number 10, which was Goldust, Cody Rhodes' brother, and his tag team partner also at the time. But then all the babyfaces would team up to eliminate Rusev, so Rusev was only the 3rd person eliminated from this match. We did have a lot of people in the match at once, but this is a match where it felt okay, really, because a lot more of these talents were built up. They weren't all just jobbers. But after Rusev got eliminated, Kofi was on the rope, and he I think Punk was the one who pushed him off the rope, and he landed into Rusev, similar to how he landed into Tensai the year before. And then Rusev took out his anger being eliminated on Kingston by placing him on the barricade, beating him down until the referees, pushed him off. And then Kofi got back up, jumped from the barricade back onto the apron to keep himself in the match. So Kofi did another good spot, but that was the only one we saw from him in this match. Number 11 was other Shield member Dean Ambrose, which Seth Rollins was the only one actually who entered the way the Shield does. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns entered just through the ramp. So Dean Ambrose at number 11. Number 12 was Dolph Ziggler, who is now a babyface after he turned face after cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, one of the best cash-ins in WWE history. After WrestleMania 29. Number 13 was R-Truth. Didn't last long. He would then be eliminated by Ambrose. And then Ambrose would also eliminate Jimmy Uso. So those two were gone. And then Kofi was battling it out with Jack Swagger. For a second time, Kofi had a good spot. Kofi was being pushed off. He was over the top rope, and then he kept being pushed down. He wrapped his feet around the bottom ropes to hang on, and he also had escaped by pulling off Jack Swagger's boot and striking Swagger with it. So that was pretty awesome. See Kofi, save himself big time twice. Number 14, surprise entrant Kevin Nash came out. He came out and eliminated Jack Swagger. Number 15 was the big dog, Roman Reigns, who was, of course, the heel and the muscle of the Shield. He came out and he did his drive-by move to get into the Rumble match on Punk and a few others in the match, and this would be a historic night for Roman Reigns, in a good way, that is, not like in years come where he didn't get good reception, but this tonight he was getting good reception. He eliminated Kofi Kingston, he eliminated Dolph Ziggler, and then he also eliminated Kevin Nash. I remember when Kevin Nash got eliminated, he hung onto the ropes for a second, maybe he just let go, was like, all right, I'm done, that's it. But he had, just like that, he had 3 eliminations. Number 16, the Great Khali. Thank goodness this is his final Royal Rumble match. It better be his final Royal Rumble match. If he comes back in 2018 as a surprise entrant, I will do worse than I did whenever he came back at Battleground for the night. But he came in at number 16, but all 3 members of the Shield teamed up to eliminate him. And then, due to a miscommunication, Cody Rhodes accidentally knocked out his brother Goldust out of the match. And then, due to distraction, Goldust accidentally eliminated Cody Rhodes. And then Reigns would then eliminate Goldust behind him. So, for a couple seconds, it was just all 3 members of the Shield and CM Punk, which once again, they were feuding with each other at this time. So it was those 4. And the number 17 entrant came down. It was a prediction I also had to happen as well for this Royal Rumble match. Go into it. Number 17 was Sheamus. And this was Sheamus' return, actually, as he had been out since the Money in the Bank pay-per-view with a torn labrum. So he'd been gone for about 6-7 months, I think it was. So he made his return. He goes in there, pretty much, just gets a good fiery spot, taking out all members of the Shield with his, with his signature moves, the 10 piece of the Balindrum, the Irish Curse backbreaker, a bro kick, just he set the crowd for Sheamus to be returning, who was supposed to be turning heel within the next few months in this year, but it got put on hold because the original plans they had from WrestleMania, which you don't know what they were, got canceled. He ended up being in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that year, but yeah, Sheamus got a good reaction, and I was excited to see Sheamus return as well at this Rumble. So he was number 17. Number 18 was The Miz, who was back to being a heel after that bland babyface run he had in 2013, which shows that The Miz cannot be a babyface. He is a heel. Number 19, remember this guy? Da-da, da-da. That's when it was still cool back then, but it was slowly fading off. Now he's the Fashion Police, which they were doing good for a couple segments, and then they went flop in 2017. But he was number 19. Number 20, remember this guy? El Torito! Ole! I do not miss the Los Matadors. I do not miss them at all. El Torito was in the Royal Rumble match, and he would eliminate Fandango. There was a time where he was literally staring down at CM Punk, calling him out. Punk is like, Kimmy, go away, kid. But El Torito eliminated Fandango, and then Roman Reigns eliminated El Torito. So I'm like, thank you, Roman. That was something good he did that night also. But they're gone. And number 21 was the other half of the Real Americans, Antonio Cesaro, which when he qualified for the Elimination Chamber match, that's when he went by just Cesaro. And this is around the time where I was really starting to become a huge fan of Cesaro. He should have faced Brock Lesnar for the championship this year, but that did not happen. He still has not yet gotten his world title shot yet. He was at number 21. Number 22 is Luke Harper. It was Harper and Rowan's first year in a Rumble, as well as Bray Wyatt did not participate in this Rumble match because of the match with Daniel Bryan. But he was in there in 2011 as a Husky Harris, if you remember that from the New Nexus. Number 23 was Jey Uso. Number 24, JBL. And they point out this is the first time that the character JBL was in the Royal Rumble match. John Bradshaw Layfield had been into the Royal Rumble match before as Blackbeard, Bradshaw, whatever the heck they call him, and then just Bradshaw. He had been in the match as them, but not as the regular JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. So this is the first time he got in the match. Only lasted just a few seconds, but Roman Reigns eliminated him from behind. Eric Rowan came out number 25, and then Harper would eliminate The Miz. Number 26 was Ryback as a heel. I hated Ryback's heel run. Well, the second one he had was barely anything until he left, but I did not like that they took away the whole Feed Me More thing. They should have kept that. Even if they wanted to turn him heel, kept the Feed Me More gimmick on him, because that was Ryback. And I love that chant, because that's what I was doing, is Feed Me More. I love that. But I didn't like this run. He was number 26. Number 27 was Alberto Del Rio. Number 27, didn't really care at this point. At this point, I was starting to realize that Daniel Bryan was not going to be in the Royal Rumble match, and we were all starting to realize it too. We all chanted Daniel Bryan out in the crowd. Of course, he wouldn't be in the Rumble match, though. Number 27 was Del Rio. Number 28 was the Animal Batista, who had just returned a week earlier. He had a brief run that didn't go too well. And he even knew himself, too. Him come back as a babyface, thought he would be like the big heroic return he would have. Just it wasn't the case. They turned him heel in the end, which is, he says that he was better doing, making people hate him at this point in his career. Batista came out number 28. He would eliminate Eric Rowan, Ryback, and Del Rio, which they had him feud with Del Rio when he came back, because Del Rio was expressing his jealousy, pretty much, how people were talking about Batista and not Del Rio. They would have a match at Elimination Chamber, but again, after that, that's when they just flat out turned Batista heel fully, because they had to do the triple threat match to save WrestleMania 30. Number 29 was the current Intercontinental Champion, his first Royal Rumble match, Big E Langston. This is before he was just Big E, of course, of the New Day. Now he's the New Day, and he's rocking it pretty hard. He came number 29. Number 30, poor Rey Mysterio. This is his final Royal Rumble match, and he got booed when he came out because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. But he came out number 30, and the boos just started happening because we were all mad that Daniel Bryan was not in the Royal Rumble match. Sheamus would eliminate Big E. Seth Rollins would eliminate Rey Mysterio. Roman Reigns eliminated Luke Harper. And after Reigns eliminated Harper, Ambrose started eyeing up Reigns. And he goes to try to eliminate Roman. But then Seth pulls him off and he's like, what are you doing? Like why are you doing this? And then Cesaro starts to attack the two of them. But so then Reigns turns around. He eliminates all three of them. And he pretty much makes a statement to them. So the final four was Batista, Reigns, Punk, and Sheamus. Punk had been in there since the beginning of the match. All of a sudden, and I remember I was angry when this happened, Punk gets into the corner. Kane comes out of nowhere, and he pulls him out of the match and choke slams him through a table. That was the end of CM Punk, because again, he walked out on the WWE the next day, but that was the end of CM Punk. The final three was Reigns, Sheamus, and Batista. I think this time I was more rooting for Sheamus, because I still wasn't huge on the Shield yet, and at first I was like, cool, Batista coming back, but I'm just like, nah, it's not really like quite, what the fans want. No one's going to be happy with that either. But then Reigns eliminates Sheamus. Now, that elimination, though, broke Kane's record for the most eliminations in a Royal Rumble match. Roman had 12 eliminations, and people were cheering for him. They wanted Roman over Batista. Funny how the following year, that was the complete opposite for Roman Reigns. But we were chanting for Roman to win this match because Batista versus Orton for the main event of WrestleMania was going to be just an awful idea. But of course, we all know what happened. Reigns was about to throw out Batista, but then Batista reversed his momentum onto Roman, and he eliminated Roman, and Batista wins the Rumble. And he pretty much says, also you see him say, I'm going to be champion. Deal with it. He was still a babyface, but he was saying that. Us Pittsburgh crowd, we booed the heck out of Batista that night. Booed him. Because WWE had screwed up big time. It should have been Daniel Bryan, but they stacked all the odds against him and eventually come to the main event of WrestleMania, making that Royal Rumble win just, it made sense. Get heat on Batista. It felt real. It's what the Authority wanted, but Daniel Bryan was what we wanted. And that led Daniel Bryan to getting to the main event of WrestleMania and winning the match, thanks to the Occupy Raw segment. Again, unfortunately, this was the last match for CM Punk, but I'm glad I got to see it. Which, by the way, also, I was surprised last night at the Raw Top 25 Moments special after SmackDown. I was super surprised that they actually had a segment involving CM Punk, which was the pipe bomb in that as well. I was surprised. If Punk would return at Raw 25, that'd be awesome, but I highly doubt it's going to happen. But I know I talked a little bit longer about this Rumble, but again, it was because, I was there live, and it was a special event for me. But let's go over the numbers, as always. The first entrant was CM Punk, 49-11, 3 eliminations. Number 2 was Seth Rollins, 48-37, 3 eliminations. Again, this is his only Royal Rumble match so far with Seth Rollins. Damian Sandow, number 3, 2-17, no eliminations. Number 4 was Cody Rhodes, 21-01, 1 elimination. Number 5 was Corporate Kane, 1:10, 1 elimination. That's when he came back later to eliminate Punk. Number 6 was Alexander Rusev. Before he was just Rusev. He was at number 6, 7:06, no eliminations. Number 7 was Jack Swagger, 12-24, no eliminations. Number 8 was Kofi Kingston, 12-42, 1 elimination. That's weird. It's 12-24, 12-42. Some numbers moving back and forth there. Number 9 was Jimmy Uso, 7:53, no eliminations. Number 10 was Goldust, 12 minutes and 1 elimination. Dean Ambrose, number 11, 33-41, 3 eliminations. All the Shield guys got a great amount of time in this match. Dolph Ziggler, 6:09, no eliminations. R-Truth, number 13, 28 seconds, no eliminations, good. Number 14 was Kevin Nash, 2:36, 1 eliminations. Number 15, the big dog, Roman Reigns. Ooh! How to do it. 33-51, a new record that still stands today, 12 eliminations. That's a dominating performance for the dominating heel muscle of the Shield. Number 16 was the Great Khali. 24 seconds, no eliminations. Number 17 was returning Sheamus, 28-22, 1 elimination. Number 18 was The Miz, 12:09, no eliminations. Number 19 was Fandango, 3:02, no eliminations. El Torrio, number 20, 1:49 with 1 elimination. Antonio Cesaro, number 21, 16:57, no eliminations. Number 22 was Luke Harper, 15:21, 2 eliminations. Number 23 was Jey Uso, 4:32, no eliminations. Number 24 was JBL, 49 seconds, no eliminations. Eric Rowe, number 25, 5:05 with no eliminations. Ryback, number 26, 4:01, no eliminations. 27 was Del Rio, 3 minutes, no eliminations. Batista, number 28, or as he became known as that night, Bootista, 14:34, 4 eliminations. Number 29 was the Intercontinental Champion, Big E Langston, 2:49, no eliminations. I forgot to mention also Dean Ambrose was the United States Champion during this time. Number 30 was Rey Mysterio, 2:10, no eliminations. The longest time was CM Punk in there for 49 minutes and 11 seconds, starting from number 1. The most eliminations was, of course, Roman Reigns with 12. And the total duration of this match was 55 minutes and 7 seconds. So overall, the grade I give for this Royal Rumble match, what I have to say would be a B minus. Again, it was solid. I know the reception of it wasn't as good because of what happened with Batista and everything, and Daniel Bryan not being in the match. But still, looking at it from a whole, how it all worked out, it was still a great Rumble. The pay-per-view itself was pretty good as well for the most part. So I would still give this Royal Rumble match itself a B minus. What grade would you give this Royal Rumble match? Your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, be sure to click that like and subscribe. We're on to come to this channel and follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. I will try to do the 2015 Rumble video before I go to bed tonight. That Rumble, the 2015 Rumble, that also holds a very, very, very special place in my heart. And I cannot wait to tear it apart. So that is it, guys. Until then, this is the Club of the Man 1993. Have a great night.